Hello there, I'm Crazy Eddie, and this is Terra Firma Punk. And what we're working on today is breaking some rocks into gravel so that we can run them through the sieve. And once we get that done, we should have some cinnabar which I can make into redstone. Which will allow us to finally start on some technology. After the Doomfest of last episode, the digging up of the cobblestone went pretty uneventfully. So that was good. And now that I have all this rhyolite gravel, we're sifting through to see what we can get out of it. And we're already getting native copper, crude circuits, musket balls. I already had this agate. So yeah, we're going to sift through some more of this and see what we get. Not too bad. I've got 9 cinnabar. And that should get me a bit over a stack of redstone. And to convert it, I just have to run it through the quern. So while I'm doing this, there is one other thing that I probably should have a talk about. I have been feeling the call for new beginnings. I have more projects I want to do. I have whole new channels I'd like to open up. But I have so much on my plate as it is that I think that it's time for me to work on closing one of these series. I've been enjoying actually having the choice whether to keep a series going. But if you've been looking at my schedule and how well I've been maintaining it, then you probably know that I really haven't been. And I have been trying to think of ways to come up with more time. But there's still just so many hours in a week. I do have a few things I want to finish in this series, though. I mean, we've already gotten so far. I've gotten to from the Copper Age through bronze, brass, iron, and even steel. And I do want to come up with a couple of technological goodies before we quit. I want to generate some redstone flux, and I want to build a carpenter to use it. And I also want to do some things with steam. Terra Firma Punk, it's a steampunk mod. We ought to do some steam, shouldn't we? So that should keep me busy for at least a couple more episodes. I think that maybe I wasn't really thinking ahead when I decided to put my workshop down here. Or maybe I was. Thing is, I need a source of water. And water sources are kind of hard to move in Terra Firma Punk. So I'm thinking that I need to relocate my shop close enough to this river so that I can plant an Archimedes screw in it. So that I can draw water for a boiler. And then I'm going to have to build it in such a way that I can have a building with a boiler in it that is connected to this screw. So I figure right here should be a pretty good place to draw the water from. And hopefully it won't pick it up from the source at the head of this river. So I'm going to clear out some space here, and while I'm at it, I may as well just dig down this hill. I'd been planning to do it anyway, I just hadn't got around to it. So, gonna do some digging for a while. Well, that does actually look a lot better. And we have some water here that I could test the Archimedes screw in. I just had to figure out exactly how I want to extend this building. I think I want to build the extension here. Right here is our charcoal pit, and right here is our forge. And I need to put in some more bricks in the back wall here. But at any rate, that means the only real place to put a back door in the forge is right around here. Oops. I think I just broke my bloomery. Yep, there it is. Okay, so right here then is where we'll want to put the door for our steam shop. And I already have a bunch of blocks to make it out of. I had a few stacks of smooth shale lying around, so that's what I'm going to build with. And I guess we'll have a hallway going down here and have the actual shop building here. And we'll have to pull up this oat, which is due for picking anyway. And I need to throw away some of this stuff. And I can see which way it goes anyway. Alright, so I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to make a room here for a boiler and Archimedes screw and some crushers. But first, I guess I had better pick the plants I've got left. And Steam Lab. Complete with doors. I suppose I might have done better to make it a little bit bigger, but I had a little less room to work with than I would have liked. But I can always expand it further around the charcoal pit. I've got some glass. Perhaps I should consider a skylight in here. But for right now, I need to figure out how to pump that water up. And the simplest way would probably be with the Archimedes screw. So let's see how much brass we have to work with around here. I know I have some extra brass plates. And these brass sheets so that would be enough to make the actual screw. And some glass. And Archimedes screw. And I need to put some stuff away. Now with the Archimedes screw, we're also going to need a boiler. So let's see, what kind of cobblestone do we have? Can we make it from a nice oven? Granite, dacite, gabbro, diorite, andesite, basalt, rhyolite. Well, that's okay. I know where to get rhyolite. And the rhyolite wasn't hard to come up with at all. And there's our rhyolite brick oven. However, we need more brass. And I could go back down into the dungeon and harvest some more. Or we can do it the proper way. So we're going to melt some sphalerite and some tetrahedrite in our crucible and make an alloy. And alloys are not that hard to come up with, actually. You just have to have the metals in the right proportions, which for brass would have to be between 88 and 92% of copper, and the rest of it zinc, which comes out of sphalerite. And I'm pretty sure that I've got my proportions right here. So all we have to do is heat this up and melt it. We may as well start with that. And we've already got our 50 units of zinc. So let's throw 16 of tetrahedrite. And we may not be ready to melt copper yet, so we'll heat things up a bit. And now we have brass. 425 units. Now we want to have an even hundreds so that we have the right amounts to fill our molds. And I think I want to throw in a little more copper. Actually, we can throw in some more sphalerite, some more zinc. Okay, it's too much zinc. But that's okay, we need at least one more in there. And still too much zinc. And we have 6 ingots worth, but still too much zinc. All right, 7 ingots worth of brass. And all we have to do is pour it out. Now we are going to need more brass than this. So was anybody else keeping track of how much I was putting in of everything? Because I sure wasn't. All right, so there's our last 2 pieces. And apparently I wasn't paying attention for a moment there. There we are. So we'll cool these down. And boiler. Okay, so I've done a little bit of revamping in this lab. I decided to give it steps. Oops. So anyway, yes, I decided to give it steps and lower it a level so that I can have the boiler on level with the water. That's better. And I have also discovered a bit of a bug. One might call it a game-breaking bug, but only for a moment or so. It seems placing down a boiler causes the game to crash. I'm not sure if that is also the case in servers, but yeah, this would be a huge problem if I were planning to move that boiler around a lot. But since I actually don't plan to do that, this is where it can stay. And we can put the Archimedes screw right here. And then we can pick it up and put it back down facing the other direction. Just like that. And we give it another pipe to put the steam back down into it to power it. And now it may be time to power this puppy up. As soon as I find a bucket. And bucket. And from here, we'll just pick up a bucket of water. Put that in. Put in some charcoal. And as soon as this heats up, it should start turning the screw to pick up the water. Which should give us more water. Should. May need a little more coal. Well, I have steam in here, but for some reason the screw is not turning, and I think it's just not responding to Terra Firma craft water. And I'm not really sure what to do about that. Except to come up with a different kind of pump. But that's alright, because I have actually also determined that I can't really use this for the purpose that I was going to in the first place. I had this idea of using some smashers to smash the cobblestone, which would greatly simplify the work of making gravel and sieving it and so on. But I have to do other things first. So yeah, before I can do more with this, I'm going to have to build a thermionic fabricator and a carpenter, and I'm going to have to come up with some RF. And that calls for a whole nother bunch of infrastructure. On which we shall start next episode. So there we are, our first boiler, which we can't use yet. Next episode, let's see if I can come up with something I can use. Until then, have some fun, build something cool, and have a nice day.